Alrighty, so this is just with people news. I decided at least I'm gonna get one started on this side. Uh, just so you know, if you look on the pictures, all right. Um, well, 731, 828, or 8 2. Then you had a chord on 8 5. Then you had a chord 8 5, which is two chords in one. And then we're on this uh, last one here, right? And this is still going to be an hour long. I have watched it, and there's a lot of delays in there. So when you see me maybe skipping in certain sections out throughout the couple of videos here, um, I may name this a little bit different just to kind of separate it out on YouTube world. But again, I'm gonna remind you guys, go look up Legal Beagle for directly going across everything. Okay. But let's start this process. Number one, I'm Diesel with the People News. Welcome. All right. Never look straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. In order to do that, you have to use your Second Amendment. Arm yourself with knowledge. Okay. People argue with that, but arming yourself with knowledge is still arms. All right. So there I say it. All right. I sidetracked myself. I don't rehearse these things, y'all. I just, when I have time, and if there's a particular subject that I'm thinking of doing and all that, I'll go back to it and look at it on my library and kind of bring it up to YouTube world on my behalf for my education as well, right? Let's just go ahead and proceed forward, okay?
For filings,
Oh, by the way, this is educational purpose. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving legal advice. Anything I say or do, it's just my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt, okay? I'm hearsay. Do your own research. Covering that butt. Somehow or another, I signed a bar member contract saying I agree that I shouldn't give legal advice. I don't know, people. Can't make this shit up.
Just briefly, we would oppose the issuance of a drag order in this case. I'm planning to go over to the jail this afternoon. I can attempt to speak to Mr. Benshu and see if we can avoid the drag order.
he's gonna go ahead and sign the drag order. It of course forthcoming to use if there's a brief order, so hopefully that will occur, but I think you need to. So thank you.
Understood. Thanks.
From the motion calendar number.
All right, we're going to stop right there. Right? Aren't they be careful with the words, Joe. All right. Did they or did they not do ex parte communication before they called Kirk in? Right? They just jumped and now called him, okay? So there's a particular spot right there that's missing. So these attorneys and jailers or whatever is in the background started talking to her about the case, why he's not in present. I'm led to believe and do believe. And that's the ex parte communication right off the top.
Glenn Benshu in custody.
So right there, they basically tell him sit down, right? So he was not there during the very beginning of this part. That's ex parte communication. Okay? And he was already trying to ask for things without him being there to eject or to deny. Here and for on the record in public view.
Guys have a bench, but a promise not bench. Yeah, Ken? Not.
Oh, by the way, if you just now recognize, this is a totally different judge. And on this video, I think it was 828, 829 when he did the producing out on his channel. But the case was what, 8, I believe it was 8-7 or 8-8. So just saying.
Can you hear one? Yeah, this is State of Washington versus Kurt Benchuk, this file number 24-1-02680-7 Seattle designation. My name is Pat Bud, I'm representing State of Washington. Representative. Yes, President Montgomery. And good afternoon, James Hunter, Northwest, and the attorney of record in this case. It's Mr. Benchuk's desire to proceed on this case right now. For this hearing.
Okay, well, first, I have asked for a competency evaluation. We do have a competency report that's dated August 1st, 2024. It offers the opinion that Mr. Benchuk is competent and is able to proceed. Unless the parties want to be heard further, I would make that finding initially and then we can go to the next case. They want to be heard on that?
No, thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Coatsworth, I saw you nodding your head. You agree that your client is competent?
I have nothing to add.
Okay, so I was going to make the finding that Mr. Benchuk is competent and that he can make his own decisions on this. Now, where we had started at one point at arraignment was Mr. Benchuk had said that he wished to represent himself. And so, Mr. Benchuk, I don't know if you still want to do that or if that's what you want to address today, but I'm happy to start asking you some questions about that today if that's what you wish to do.
Yeah, if the court would like to do the colloquy or whatever you call it, I'm prepared to proceed with that. And then after the court recognizes that I'm representing myself pro se, and before prosecution attempts to get to arraignment, there are dispositive issues that I intend to bring before the court.
Okay, and we can certainly set a time for you to do dispositive issues.
There are threshold matters regarding jurisdiction, and that needs to be addressed before the prosecution tries to proceed.
Okay, I understand. We can do all that. We just can't hear the dispositive motions right now on this calendar. But first, let me ask you a series of questions. All right. So, Mr. Benchuk, you have the constitutional right to have a lawyer represent you, and you wish to waive that right at this point?
Objection. I have a right to counsel, not to a lawyer. Two different administratives, allegedly.
I had a similar colloquy in settlements report. I'm not waiving my right to counsel. I still expressly reserve the right to retain private counsel, but I do not want a Northwest Defenders Association or whatever the organization is called representing me. And until I am afforded the right to speak with a private attorney of my choosing without being recorded and having my right to privacy violated, until that time, I intend to proceed pro se, Your Honor.
So there's a lot for me to sort of ask you about with that. You don't have the right to an attorney of your choosing if the government's providing you with a lawyer, which I think that's not what you're asking.
Listen to the words. See, circumventing. You got to listen to these people.
Or what you're saying is that you want to represent yourself until such a time that you may wish to hire a lawyer. Is that correct? Okay. But if I allow you to represent yourself today, I may not necessarily allow you to go hire a lawyer later on. It depends on a whole variety of things, one of which is how close we are to trial and whether or not it will disrupt the court process with it. Do you understand that if I grant your request to go pro se today, that you may not have the ability to hire your own lawyer later on? You certainly can ask me to do that, and I would take that really seriously, but that wouldn't be a right that you would have.
For the record, Your Honor, I understand that's the court's position, and granted the respect that it's ability that it's required to have. But at the same time, my right to counsel is not a discretionary privilege that's granted by a court. That's my position.
Okay.
the words he used was really excellent. Take lessons on this, people. All right, they're transferring a constitutional right, and then it turns into a privilege. Then it's constitutional right. Then it's a privilege. Circumventing. Okay, and they're trying to get him balled up in a corner. Well, you deny this, then you deny this. And I understand basically they're saying, it could cause some form of disruption. Well, you shouldn't have locked him up and say, hey, he can't get out. I mean, geez, I want to get a private attorney, but I can't have any phone calls. How can I do my research and go get another attorney? So good on him holding his ground on his right to counsel, not to a lawyer. People, learn the difference between that. Please, for the love of God.
You understand that I may take a different position with
Yes,
him,
ma'am.
but you disagree with that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There we go. Violation of due process. Again.
Have you ever studied law or represented yourself before?
I have represented myself. I have not gone to any formal education institution regarding law. I've done independent research on it.
Okay. And do you understand that the court has certain specific court rules and legal procedures?
I understand that there are criminal rules of procedure, civil rules of procedure, and there are different rules of procedure, whether it's a court of jurisdiction or superior court or federal court. Yes.
Okay, and do you understand that the court would be requiring you to follow those rules, even though you're not a lawyer?
Yes, I understand that Washington's position is that I'm held to the same standard as a licensed attorney.
Okay, and that a judge wouldn't be giving you an extra break just because you're not a lawyer yourself?
Yes, I understand that even though there are cases such as Kings v. Turner out of the United States Supreme Court that have stated that a pro se pleading should be held to a different standard than licensed attorneys, that the Washington courts have ignored that.
Okay.
Boom, there it is again. By the way, that said that the break should give some type of leniency, since they, pro se don't really go out and study law and become a licensee. That doesn't exist. It's a permit. All right, and that's all a license is for attorneys. Cannot be licensed because it's a right. Okay, you cannot change a right into a privilege. So this alleged license doesn't exist. But at least she kind of like, okay, but she ignored it. You got to look at her tone and all that. Like, oh, he called me out.
So currently you're charged with the crimes of felony stalking, attempting to elude a pursuing police vehicle, and then a third count of attempting to elude a pursuing police vehicle. Do you understand that's what you're currently charged with?
I understand that that's what the prosecution is claiming in violation of RCW 9.16.0 and a malicious prosecution.
Okay. And Mr. Lavin, do you have standard ranges and the maximums for these crimes?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to state them for me on the record?
Yes. Maximum term for stalking.
It's almost like the
Now remember here, stalking, okay? When you go back to the news about all this, if he was stalking her, why was she in his house? Just saying. Why was she in his house? And he's been charged of stalking her.
That's okay. We will let you look that up, and I'm going to ask Mr. Benson some other questions here as well. So these are the three charges that you're currently charged with. But do you understand that the state may amend and add charges as well?
yes, sir.
Okay. And you understand that there could be, I'm just not aware of whether or not there are any for these particular, but what we call lesser included offenses. So something that's less than, but still part of these offenses that you could be convicted of as well.
I understand that that King County could attempt to prosecute me maliciously, but because I'm actually innocent, it's a legal impossibility for there to be lesser charges. But I understand the court's position that it needs to inform me of this theoretical possibility.
Okay.
Again, there was a video, a few videos back now, right? Attorney actually went on record on YouTube saying that there is a difference, y'all. I say it all the time due to my research, but the attorney actually backed me up, saying that there is a difference between innocent and not guilty. So, I've talked several times in my previous videos, right? I don't go in there, say not guilty, no contest, guilty. I mark all that out. I put a little box in there, presumed innocent on my tickets and all that. Of course, in Texas, it's a criminal offense with a violation of traffic codes. But that being said, it don't matter if it was even contract thing, quasi-contract. I might still put on there, presumed innocent. And when they say anything, which they have, are you become my legal counsel? Are you giving me a legal advice? Well, no, I can't do that. Yeah. Then why are you giving me a legal advice? These are the only 3 options I have. My attorney told me to put this little red box in here and it said presumed innocent. And I'm following my attorney's instruction.
Do you understand that it may be more difficult for you to interview witnesses while you are in custody?
I fully understand that by firsthand experience because it's so far been so difficult that I haven't even been afforded a piece of paper or an envelope or a stamp to respond to either the Washington Supreme Court clerk or Robbie Subramanian, who is the clerk for U.S. District Court. And there seems to be a pattern or policy of violating my due process rights to hold me incommunicado. So do I realize it's a possibility that that may continue as part of the city and the county's retaliation campaign? Absolutely, Your Honor, and I'm prepared to deal with that each and every day with a smile upon my face.
Okay. Do you understand similar to
You got to give him credit to blow this out there. I mean, geez. She's already been caught in one particular lie. That she has all these privileges and you get to waive them, and once you waive them, and you can't recuse them. And, well, no, I'm reserving all my rights. Period.
we were talking about that you may at some point wish to try and hire your own attorney, that sometimes people believe they have a right to standby counsel, which means they still represent themselves, but they have a lawyer who's there standing by, possibly to assist you. To understand that you don't have.
Now, that being said, she is correct in that, but you got to listen to the words, right? So if there's an attorney there, right, if he call or standby counsel, if he does call him or her to fill in, then they actually speak on his behalf. Okay? But that's not what counsels do. Counsels is to help him instruct how to speak to the courts, not to speak for them. That's the difference between counsel and actually attorneys. Okay? Attorneys speak for you. Counsels instruct you and help you through the process. You still speak to the courts.
Right to stand
We've been so dumbed down, it's unbelievable.
by counsel either.
I understand that that's the court's position, Your Honor.
Do you realize that if you decide to take the witness stand, a judge may require you to ask a question and answer the question and ask another question rather than just stating in one long narrative?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay. Has anyone made any threats or any promises to you to have you represent yourself at this time?
No, the only threats I've received were from prosecutors, judges, and law enforcement.
Okay, and was that to make you represent yourself, or do you mean as part of why you're in custody?
The only reason I'm representing myself is because of the ongoing threats by police officers, prosecutors, and judges. But if you're asking specifically about my representing myself pro se right now, no, there are no threats directly related to that.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that clarification.
You gotta love it because he's just putting a little salt and pepper in there for there and on the record. You just got to love the coloration. I'm sorry this took 20 minutes. Boy, that time went by fast. All right, Diesel with the People News. Bye, y'all.